Hey, boys and girls. Today we are going to do TPCAST. TPCAST is a way to help students understand or analyze poetry. The goal today is to teach you how to TPCAST to help make sense of the poems that you read. First thing we're going to do is look at each of the letters in TPCAST and talk about what they stand for. So I'm going to go down to the box on the farmer where it also has what each of the meanings are. So it says T is for the title meaning. So when I look at the title, what is the first thing that comes to mind? On the P is tell what each stanza means in your own words. This is just like you hashtagging on your paragraphs. If you do C, which is underline any figurative language, this is like connotation. This is your um, imagery, your figurative language, and what is the meaning of it. A is the stanzas. Are they positive or are they negative? When I read a stanza, if I see lots of positive words and the events are positive, I'm going to say this is a positive paragraph or a positive stanza. In S, there's a shift. That means that if I'm looking at the stanzas, it goes positive, positive, negative, negative. This is a shift because there's a change. Now, it could be negative, negative, positive, positive, but somehow there's a shift. Every now and then you'll have certain conjunctions that might help out, but yet, that or like yet, but, um, and, and it'll kind of divide the actual poem up. T is for title revisited. This means that after I've done all these things, I've paraphrased, I wrote what it was about, I looked at the figurative language, I looked at the positive and negative, I go back and look at my title and ask, did my title really mean that? If it did, that's okay. If it's something else I want to add to it, I can do that. And if it didn't mean anything of what I wrote, then I want to make sure I write down what I feel like it means. The last T is theme, and this is the lesson learned. So this is where you have to make sure that you're getting a full meaning of what the story is about. So I'm now going to go up to the poem titled The Farmer, and with you being at home, what I'm going to have you say is the farmer. What does it mean? So when I think about the farmer, and I'm going to circle the farmer because I'm looking at the title. When I think about the farmer, I think of my father-in-law, and he planted rice. So I'm going to put plant. I may not use the pen, it's hard to do. So I'm going to erase it. And I'm just going to circle the poem up. I'm not going to do that either. Let's clear that. And I'm going to get out of the pen part. And I'm just going to use my own typing. And I'm just going to put on plants, crops. Okay. Now, I have that down, but one thing I noticed is I did not number my my lines. So I'm going to go ahead and put one, because I'm typing on the computer, I'm going to go ahead and put one behind each one of each line in my stanza. So I have one, two, I have three, and then I'm going to come down here and put four. Oops, that looks like three, four. Five is already marked for me, so I'm going to go down to the next one. And I'm going to do a six. I'm going to go down seven, eight, nine, 10, and 11. There are 11 lines. I also have two stanzas. I have my first stanza and I have my second stanza. So the first thing I did is I had my title, and I put plant crops. So then I tell what each stanza means in your own words. So I'm going to look at the first one, and I'm going to go ahead and read the poem. So it says, The Farmer. A plot of weeds, an old gray mule, hot sun and sweat on a bright southern day. Strong stern papa under a straw hat, plowing and planting his whole life away. His backbone is forged of African iron and red Georgia clay. So I'm going to look back at the first stanza. a plot of weeds, an old gray mule, hot sun and sweat on a bright southern day. When I look at this just kind of tells me that they're somewhere, maybe in a farm, I mean, a field, and there's a mule that's working. I know it's hot and it's a bright southern day. So when I look at this, I'm thinking that this kind of actually does the setting of the story. It lets me know that there where the weeds are, there's a mule. I know it's a hot day, and it's bright. So I'm just going to put the setting. It kind of tells me a little bit of everything going on. So then when I look at the next one, I see strong stern Papa under a straw hat, plowing and planting his whole life away. His backbone is forged of African iron and red Georgia clay. When I look at this, I notice that it talks about Papa. It talks about him being strong, he's stern. I know he has a hat on, he's plowing and planting, so he's farming. It says his whole life away. Um, if you know anything about farmers, they usually get up at rise and they go home at sunset, so it's a whole day. And it says his backbone is forged of African iron. So I know that the African iron are unique little art pieces. And so I'm thinking that this is trying to describe his muscles on his back, which again would go into the fact that he's strong and that he's working. So I'm going to put Papa is strong, strong, and I'm going to put hard worker. I know he's a hard worker because I see the way it says his backbone is forged. So then when I look back, I have figurative language. What is the meaning? So when I come back over here, I am going to think of figurative language and imagery. I see hot sun and sweat. So I'm just going to highlight that in yellow. And I know when I look at that, I can see the hot and feel the hot sun, and I can feel sweat. So I know this is the feeling of it. I see on a bright southern day, I also know that the sun is bright. So when I look at that, it's another piece of imagery to let me know it's during the day and it's not raining. And then when I see strong, stern Papa, I see strong and stern. Well, I know that's not only imagery, but it's also alliteration. The S for strong, the S for stern. And I know they're trying to let you know that Papa is a hard worker, and he's hard worker, and due to all the hard work, he's strong. So I see another one that says his whole life away. So I know this is a hyperbole, because he's not really plowing and planting his whole life away. It just lets you know that this is the life of a farmer. So I had to know that going into it. I can also see where it says his backbone is forged of African iron and red Georgia clay. That whole line, when I'm thinking about Georgia clay, it's the red dirt. And so I'm thinking he's working all day. And sometimes when you work outside and you're working in the dirt, it tends to kind of attach itself to your skin, especially if you're sweating. So I know this is also another piece of imagery. So all this thinking of all these different things kind of helps me to understand uh, the day of the life of a farmer. So then when I get to A, it says, is the stanza positive or negative? Well, the setting of the story is just positive. He is just telling about the hot sun and the sweat. And I know some people might think, oh, well, hot and sun might be negative, but it's not for a farmer. A farmer wants it to be a pretty day because when it's raining, they can't do a lot. So on the next one, it says Papa is strong and a hard worker. Well, they're describing Papa, and I think that that is actually very positive, um, because I'm sure Papa appreciates the fact that if people are reading this, that they think he's strong and a hard worker. So when I look at my A, I did attitude. So I'm gonna look, is there a shift in a poem? Did it go from positive to negative or negative to positive? That's a no because I have two positives. So in here, I'm gonna go ahead and write no so that I can remember. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to revisit the title, and it says The Farmer. And I put that plants crops. And I agree with that. It is talking about plant crops, but the farmer they're specifically talking about is Papa. So I think I'm going to add Papa is a farmer that plants crops. And I think that kind of pulls my title all together. So as I was thinking about it, I wanted to make sure that I included everything. So then the last thing I have to look at is theme. And I have to ask myself, why did the author write this? What is the lesson he wanted me to learn? So when I think about it, and I see that it talks about Papa and him being strong, and I know that it's talking about the farmer's. The title says the farmer. I know they're talking about a farmer's job. I know the setting just lets me know that with it, even though it's hot, sunny, and it may be sweaty, a farmer can't say, "Well, I need to go into the air conditioning because I can't sweat today." So a farmer doesn't do that. They work outside all day long because that's how they tend to their crops. Then I have Papa with his plowing and planting. So when I'm thinking about theme, I'm thinking about how his work is necessary. And when I say work is necessary, it's necessary for farmers to go to work because if they don't go to work, and this is my world connection, if they don't go to work, they don't feed the family, or they can't sell their crops to other families or other communities to make money and feed them. So I know his work is necessary and I know his work is hard. So his hard work pays off for everyone. And those are my real world connections. So now that I've done all these things, I can look at this poem and I can have a better understanding of the farmer. And this is a fantastic way to get you to think about the poem and what it actually really means. I hope you enjoyed TPCast.